Hello everyone and welcome back. We are here for the second race, the Qatar Grand Prix. It is the grid as we had, of course, from the last race. Now, we did get Passoon taking the victory there. Zingy, P2 and Heischler, Nefian, Becken now driving the Mercedes instead of the Haas and Peanuts, Tom, Rob and Frantic. This is how the order is going to go. And we'll see how this one goes. It's going to be an interesting one because previously Qatar plagued by ERS just not really being that kind of good in this race, and the raceability was just absolutely awful. Now, with all these different modes, it's going to be all to play for. Everything can change, and we'll see how it goes. I'll be right back, and I'll quickly leave you with the tyre situation right here. Alrighty, we're back and we're almost ready to go racing for the Qatar Grand Prix. Who is going to get it? Zingy. From whenever he's turned up to the Qatar Grand Prix, he has got a 100% win rate. So he's going to try and hold that record if he can, I'm sure. The other winner was Ruleton, but Zingy was not there for that race. Now, Passoon has just come back, or come off of a win at the home Grand Prix, the first ever one for LSI. Zingy just wiggling his way to his grid spot, and Passoon completely overcooking it, which, yeah, bit of a shame. Frantic also in a very interesting position, and that was a shame, but we're about to go racing. Ready, hold, go! Who's going to get it into the first corner? Zingy off away well. Very, very well compared to Passoon because of the grid spot. That's Nifajan. Is he going to try and dive it to the inside? It will not, but he will get in front of Heischler off the line. Perfect start from him. Peanuts on the inside, and they're going to get in front of Becken, but Becken's going to try and stick their nose in and come back at him if he can. That's going to be Nifo to the outside line. There's going to be Heischler now to the inside instead, and there's almost contact there. Nifo goes off the circuit. Heischler's going to take that position. It's all a little bit tight. They just have managed managed to keep it together, although Heischler was almost saying otherwise for a moment right there. We get the menu back on the screen. Beckham still staying in 5th place just for the moment, but Peanuts was trying to have a go right there. That's going to be side by side with Tom, Rob, and that's Frantic on the inside. That's never going to work. Such a difficult corner, let alone side by side. It's only lap 1, boys. 20 laps in this race. They've got to be careful. They got to be very, very careful. Nifayan, of course, going for that opposite tyre situation as well compared to everybody else. So they are on a different one right now. Lots of cars all going off, just using that as a basically new track limit effectively. That was very interesting. I don't know if that was just all mistakes or not with the heavy fuel load, or if that was an exploit that is possible in the game. We'll find out if they keep doing that for the rest of the race. That's going to be Heischler into P2. Now, Zingy 1.2 seconds away, and he's braking it quite nicely. Zingy just so good around this circuit, which is interesting because, you know, you'd usually think, you know, Qatar, it's quite twisty, turny, the traction zones, they're not so much there, so why would it suit a controller? It just shouldn't suit a controller, but it suits Zingy, and I don't really know why. I think maybe because the only traction zones are quite crucial. And then other than that, you just got to try and make sure you keep it a bit smooth. And he is an absolute master at being smooth on a controller. Lots of people think he's actually on wheel. He is not, I can confirm, but there are a few people that think he's on wheel. Frantic trying to stick their nose in. That was always going to get closed off. Peanuts cuts him down, but Tom Robb is going to be trying to go through as Frantic makes a mistake after that, and now the Ferrari's to the inside line, but again Frantic trying to be in front, but Tom Robb is going to be ahead. These guys may be having a bit of a rivalry today, quite possibly right here. And they continue as Tom Robb now gets that position. Heisler 2/10 away here from Zingy. Now this is one of the circuits that it was really obvious to see the handling situation from the game. You could just turn in fully and see the tyres lock. Now right now, these guys are using it a little bit. I will be honest, they're using it a little bit, and it's a shame to see that the F1 game does need to have this, but it is what it is. Maybe it's not actually beneficial, it's just that they're used to it because they've tried to practice the game with this situation. Turn 1 is most notable, so later on we'll go and watch on board with Heisler maybe at turn 1 and see if we can spot what was going on. Will it drop their tyres off though? Yes, it definitely will, so they probably won't be doing it, especially compared to time trial where they would have probably tried to get away with those kind of exploits. Zingy doesn't really have the benefit of being able to use it around the circuit, and I say it's an exploit that can either be a curse or a favour depending on what you're trying to do with the car. Gain time, not really compared to what it used to be, with the patch now making it slower to use the tyre scrubbing. But it's still not impossible. If you make a mistake, you can be very forgiving and just kind of recorrect where you're going, and it'll be absolutely fine. Tom Robb, unfortunately, already getting themselves a penalty. Becken not able to hold on to the back of Nifayan, so that is a big split between the pack right now. We've got Zingy on his own, then we've got Passoon, Nifa and Heisler, then it is the rest of the guys behind after that one. And Heisler using the steering a little bit, but not too much, massively. That's going to be Tom Robb going for the move on Peanuts. Peanuts is going to be letting that one go, but almost already trying to go back for the move again. He does hold off for now. But yeah, we'll see. Very interesting situations here with the harvesting modes. You can see that they're using harvesting for certain areas, and then all of a sudden mid-corner they're not harvesting, which I guess is the ERS button they're possibly using, going from none to overtake mode, and just trying to not opt for that medium tire or medium mode, especially around a circuit like this. I think that's definitely quite understandable. Now we're going to go back to the race leader Zingy, who has got a nice bit of a gap. It's extended a little bit this time. Passoon very close to the back of Heisler and really wanting to try and have a go at a move, but they just don't have the ability to go for one just yet. They're basically pushing Heisler around the circuit at this point. So close, but they can't find a way through. They'll get the DRS in a moment's time. Heisler not using the energy though. They're literally harvesting on lap 4 of the Grand Prix, which is very strange to see, and I think Passoon is a bit frustrated with that. He doesn't know why he's harvesting with 100% battery while Zingy is breaking away. So he's going to make that move and try and gain a bit of time on Zingy there. Very confusing stuff, but I'm sure there is a reason to it. Frantic on the inside as Peanuts tries to hold it round the outside, but no, Frantic will make that P7 now, and Peanuts is going to have to try and wait behind patiently for an opportunity to arise in a few moments' time. Didn't get to see this car, but that was the Haas car that we got to see instead, and now that changes and we will see the Mercedes, but again, having a bit of an issue and almost losing it all, but keeps it together just about. Very twitchy, these cars, which may be a benefit to some drivers but not to others. It is a very strange driving kind of situation that everyone's got to get used to, but it is what it is. For now, I think there may be some more changes in the future that might be possible from the developers. We'll have to find out what that is going to look like a little bit later on in the game cycle. Now, Passoon's breaking away here from Heisler, and I was just having to use a little bit of energy here and there to try and maintain that, and he will, I think, just about hold on to DRS. He's very lucky to be able to hold on to that DRS. let's get a pretty good entry onto the final corner, I should say, and we'll get that DRS for the rest of this straight. And of course, Pursoon pushing for that fastest lap, but 2.2 seconds, you know, that situation that they were in last lap going into the final corner and kind of squabbling, they just lost so much time to the Scotsman, and Pursoon is all over the place, and that is going to allow not only Heischler but Niffian to get through, and Zingy is not going to be contested. 2.9 seconds almost that we're seeing right now, and that could be the VCarb's first win in LSI. We've got one Kick Sauber winning and then a VCarb. It's going to be an interesting one. We've never actually seen a pure Sauber win a race in LSI. We've only ever seen an Alfa Romeo 2019. Of course, Alfa Romeo coming in, and that was when LSI really well started basically. So a Kick Sauber or a Stake F1 team, however you want to call it. They won the Belgian Grand Prix, but now it's going to be Zingy who is going to be looking to try and take quite a nice Qatar Grand Prix here. Lap 6 out of 20, about to start lap 7. That is going to be, unfortunately, Pursoon getting a time penalty already in this Grand Prix, along with Tom, Rob, Peanuts and Becken, of course, at the early stages. Heischler's going defensive to try and hold off Niffian, but he's a little bit too far away to make a move. They will just maintain position for now, and Pursoon is going to have to wait behind. They can't find a way through just yet. Looking to the outside line momentarily, but they'll give in for now. Can't spot an opportunity just yet. Would they dare go for a move into the hairpin? That would be their earliest opportunity, but not their safest. And they will definitely not be going for a move there. It's just not a long enough run, really, to the hairpin to be able to size up a move. It's so difficult to do unless it's lap 1, but he's actually going to give the position up instead. So Niffo not comfortable there to have the pressure of Pursoon behind maybe, and those softs are possibly already dying out. We've got 5 extra laps compared to Belgium, of course, so these tyres have to go a little bit longer. They were lap 4-5ish, so this is about 2 laps later right now if Nevo is to pit compared to when they pitted in Belgium, but of course it's all a little bit relative, so it still is a possibility to pit at this stage right now. It would be more or less like relative to the same pit window. Will they pull to the right hand side? They will not. A very different pit lane compared to the previous game. It's changed a lot, so will he be able to navigate that one without getting a time penalty? I'm sure somebody might get caught out by that. That is Zingy going for a very interesting strategy here. Going for a very early hard tyre, looking for a severe undercut. He's got no one around him to be DRS train or whatever. I don't think that's necessarily a bad idea. I think if they wanted to do that, they could have maybe gone a little bit earlier, but I guess they were maybe not happy that the soft tyres are maybe so hot. And Niffian and Zingy will have actually been communicating, so maybe Niffo says, you know what, these softs, they're really not great, so maybe go for something a little bit different, and he's done it. He has done it. Will it work out? Will it pay off? I don't quite know. We'll find out, of course, but these guys, will they try and take this as an opportunity to stay out and go for that soft and try and one-up Zingy here? Heischler currently is the best bet without that time penalty, of course. Nifajan is on a different strategy and will be going to that medium tyre in a few moments' time. Whoa, that was close. That was very close there from Pursoon. Very well held. And I assume Nifo will be going into the pit lane this lap because he has to just hold off last time around to make sure that Zingy had a free pit box, and they will go in and slam the brakes on. And that is crazy car control. Very well done there from Nifo, managing to just about keep the car away from speeding. That was very impressive, I have to say. Zingy comes around the final corner. They will jump in front of Nifajan, and they aren't that far away. Well, no, they are. I'm absolutely chatting. They're quite far away from the rest of the field at the moment, but they are making their progress. I am sure. We'll actually have a quick look shall we, on the gap to the leader, and that is not the gap to the leader, so I don't really know. There you go, now we've got the gap to the leader, 20.8. Are they going to be catching? We'll double check in a few moments time, but Pursoon now leads and Heister sits behind. Will they be fighting or not? We don't quite know. We'll see in a few moments time though, as Pursoon is holding on in front at the moment. Just recently been given the lead of the Grand Prix by Zingy's early pit stop, that is for sure. And 2/10 gained in a few moments from Zingy, 3/10 as you can see on your screen now. So they are gaining time. It's not massive, really. So if the others were able to pit within the next couple of laps, then that would be great, of course. But I really don't know. They're going to have to stay out a lot longer. It's going to be Becken and Peanuts switching positions as Peanuts goes well into the barrier. Would that be a safety car brought out? They will not bring out a safety car. They will stay in front. Tom Rob goes into the pit lane. Becken stays out without damage, very lucky to do so. It's going to be the top two, though, that are fighting side by side on exit. Who's going to get it? Pursoon goes off the circuit, and Heischler will maintain position now. Peanuts retires in the pit lane. That is a shame to be the end of their race already. That is going to be a massive track extension now for Pursoon. He has to lift and lose time. But very close margins between these guys right now. Tom Rob also onto that hard tyre, following Zingy, as everyone seems to do, of course, but those hards are pretty cold, as you can see them experience. Both controller players may be hoping that the harder and cooler tyre will be more beneficial to a controller, because obviously the traction and inputs are a little bit more aggressive compared to a wheel, but we'll see. Nifo's gone for that medium tyre as expected, but not until a fair bit later on. So within the next 3 laps, so maybe even this lap, we could see a pit stop from Heischler or Pursoon. It would be unlikely. We would probably see a pit stop within the next 2 laps, or not this lap, probably next lap or the lap after. I'd say the lap after, really. Is going to be the more likely one of the two. Pursoon isn't going to be going for a move here on Heischler right now. They weren't able to get the run into the first corner, and they will have to hold off for the time being. But Zingy catching massively. The top two, they were fighting, and they've lost about 2 seconds in that time from when we last checked in, really. So yeah, 2 seconds isn't exactly ideal. Pursoon obviously was incredibly quick on that medium tyre. A 24.1, a 23.5 was absolutely flying, but it just wasn't enough to keep up with the consistent lap times from Zingy that he was able to put in. Also, he doesn't have anyone to fight, and that's why he's gone for this harder tyre and had that severe advantage. Alrighty, what can Pursoon do? And who will go into the pit lane first? Will it be this lap? Will it be next lap that we'll see a pit stop happen from these guys? They don't want their softs to necessarily die out. They can nurse them to the end and still be pretty quick. That's the nature of this game. But the longer they stay out on these tyres, the less time they have to bring back the time there to try and catch up to Zingy that they'll probably have lost from staying out a little bit longer. That is unfortunately a 10 seconds for speeding in the pit lane. That is a crazy penalty that we've unfortunately had added to the F1 game. It's not right at all, because F1 virtual racing, F1 league racing and esports is just a completely different entity to real Formula 1. It should not be a 10-second, but that's what they've decided to add in, and it does ruin it a little bit, because it basically means if you speed in the pit lane, your race is not just maybe quite negatively affected, it is ruined. It is actually ruined. So they do need to change this. I don't know if they will. They'll probably try and hold their ground on it, but it's just, it shouldn't be used. It can't be considered in the nature. It's a very different sport. You can't compare this game to F1. You need to make it different. I'm sorry. Anyway, apart from that, we continue. Unfortunately, on time penalties, Beckham has extended and got himself another 3. But really just trying to get more laps in really in this game, and league racing as a whole, just get the experience on track racing, of course. They are on that softer tyre, and they will be able to catch up to Tom Robb within the next few laps. Now Pursoon is a lot closer here to Heischler. Will they be going for the move though? I don't think they are. They're not going for the move. Frantic's going to go into the pit lane though, go for that soft tyre, and yeah, definitely I think Heischler and Pursoon will be going into the pit lane on the next lap after this one. There's the soft. Zingy goes through. Nifo is expected to go through by quite some way. Tom Braino is going to go through. Maybe even Beckham will jump Frantic right here. They are coming down the straight now, and they will go into the pit lane themselves anyway and retire. So that is a shame. I thought they would have been able to make that move. But they do retire and leave the session, so no battles will be had there, and Frantic will be trying to catch up to Tom. So instead of Beckham and Tom having a battle, it will be Frantic and Tom that we're looking to try and see in a few moments' time if we can. Hard versus soft tyre. Those softs are going to be absolutely fine to take to the end. We are still yet to see what's going to happen. With Nifo's strategy, will it work out for them? They are going to be slowly, just kind of quietly making positions, I reckon. But they are 9 seconds behind Zingy. So considering that, these guys losing even more time on the slower tyre are going to be even worse off. Heischler might be speeding into the pit lane with that one, but he just about got it slowed down. Absolutely incredible reactions there. Both drivers darting to the right-hand side. That's just the nature of the new addition, or new change to the pit lane entry. And now that's Pursoon putting on that soft tyre. Heischler doing exactly the same thing. They are going to be out ahead by quite a margin as well. So maybe Pursoon's made a mistake there with the pit lane call. Nifo is going to be coming out ahead. Tom Robb's going to be right in the battle. I think they'll still come out ahead more or less. No, it's going to be side by side into the first corner. The hard tyre just can't compete with a cold set of softs. That's actually very, very interesting. I would expect at least for one corner for the softs to be able to drop behind the hards, but no, those cold softs are absolutely killer to a set of hards. The hards have got 4 laps on them, so they're not exactly that old. I guess the tyre wear is slightly accelerated in a 35% distance race though, but yeah, very interesting. And Pursoon will be looking to try and make that move as soon as possible to see if they can try and catch back up to Heischler and continue their battle. Heischler is very close to the back of Zingy, but still 10 seconds away. Sorry, very close to the back of Nifo, but 10 seconds away from Zingy, which is actually absolutely crazy. Pursoon's going to make that move. Tom's realising, and he's going to let it go. It's not a contest that he really wants to be having at this stage of the Grand Prix. It's a very different strategy, and then they're going to let them race on, maybe even get a DRS. That might help them, of course. Did Pursoon get a DRS on the cars in front? They did, and now that will be Pursoon getting a lovely tow here on Nifo Jam, but they're going to be all in a train because Nifo's also got that DRS, and it is their race to be in, of course. They're going to make that move here on Heischler, and Heischler's going to let that one happen as they continue. So we'll see how this one goes, but no time penalty for both Nifo and Heischler, and this is for position, so they're going to be wanting to stay ahead of each other really. Pursoon is going to want to try and get track glory, but it's not going to be quite so easy. Very close to the back of Nifo there was Heischler. He's going to be careful with that one. Doesn't want to have a crash between these guys, as these guys are all on a bit of a train. The straights are obviously very quick, but the corners not so much, so it does allow Tom Robb to be able to maintain a nice little gap behind these guys. But as you go for the high-speed section, he will continue to just lose a bit more time here and there, and unfortunately I don't think he's going to be able to continue catching up. He got that dose of DRS, which will help him, and might be able to stay in front of Frantic. If they can do that, that would be great. Frantic should be catching up, but they're just not catching at a rate as I assumed they would have on this soft tyre. Nifo is holding on. Heischler is so close to the back here of the Williams. DRS to be available. All eyes on Pursoon though. Will they be going for that double overtake to Tom Brain is not exactly close, far away I should say, Tom Robb I should say as well. Actually gets himself a 3 seconds, so all of a sudden it's not quite the same situation. Now it's going to be Pursoon who'll be battling, goes to the outside line, very last minute call there from Heischler and a very last minute reaction from Pursoon, and he's going to have the outside line, he's going to be alongside, he's going to get phenomenal grip, and that is an awesome move. Heischler got the toe, will he be able to get a run into the next corner? He will not, he will slide behind, and that is an absolutely incredible swoop around the outside. Now the question is, just a couple of laps to go, less than 4, or no, just over 4 laps to go in the Grand Prix. Will Pursoon and Heischler be able to break away from Nifojan, or will Nifo be able to have himself a bit of a P2? That would be absolutely perfect. It was a 1-2 for Zingy and Nifo in Brazil for the final race of the season. There's only been one race in between, and that was just a few moments ago in Belgium. 2 P2s in a row would be very, very nice. I say in a row, 2 P2s in 3 races would be very, very nice indeed for Nifojan. He's got the slightly disadvantaged tyre, but I think the tyre is good enough. It is good enough to be able to hold on to this DRS train. They've just got to be careful. Now, Heischler almost lost out. No, they didn't almost lose out. They did lose out to DRS from Pursoon. Pursoon gets the fastest lap as they push absolutely crazily. They're going to be rapid, very, very quick with this tyre, but I don't know if they'll be able to do enough. 9.2 seconds they are catching, and it is a high-speed circuit, so the tyres should be good, but I don't think it's going to matter. I was going to say, with the pace that Pursoon's found and is now breaking away from these guys, maybe looks like Nifo's going to be looking to make that a P3 instead as he continues to break away, but all of a sudden now a 6-second time penalty is available to Pursoon, and now Nifo has a brilliant opportunity to still be there. Tom Robb isn't exactly far away, so they might even be able to benefit here from Pursoon. But Nifojan, as long as they hold on to DRS to Heischler, their tyres should be good. The drop-off would be kind of masked by a DRS barrage, I guess you could say. Unfortunately, they've got a 3-second time penalty themselves now, so they are going to have to either make that move or just stay with it in Pursoon's time penalty range, and they will be able to get themselves a podium. Everything changed massively, and Heischler, 3 tenths behind, getting that DRS, and that was an awesome toe that they got. It does mean that Nifo, unfortunately, was suffering from the ERS usage that Heischler just deployed, which was quite spectacular, gaining a lot of time right there, which is the nature of this battery kind of model. That is another 3 second there for Tom, so all of a sudden Pursoon wouldn't be losing a position, so it is for on track Heischler and Nifojan. Currently, as it stands, it is going to be Zingy, Heischler, Nifo, Pursoon and Tom Robb. It just needs to really hold on who is going to get a breakaway from the DRS, who's going to get themselves another time penalty maybe. What's going to happen to the tyre? According to Tom Brainer, what's going to happen to the tyre is that it's not going to be quick enough to be able to hold on to the train, and these guys will break away a little bit. And although Pursoon tried their best to push, Zingy has absolutely smashed it here on the strategy. They had the pace. They had massive pace before, and they were very quick. But even though they are on the disadvantaged tyre, they're not really losing much time at all. Tom Robb's going to retire early on from the Grand Prix. They've already been classed as finished for the race, so they just not really too bothered about that. That does mean that Nifo doesn't have any pressure for losing a position. They will stay where they are. They can go all in on the final 1.5 laps, more or less, just a bit over. As we end this Qatar Grand Prix, Pursoon will lead the way on the penultimate lap. Heischler goes off the circuit. He's getting a little bit weak, can't afford to do that again. Nifo's going to be very close. Bassoon is just trying to hold on for glory here. That is another track limit situation there for Nifo instead for Heischler. So both drivers are on the limits and they've got to be incredibly careful. Heischler's got a lot of battery to deploy here and they're going to try and attack Bassoon for the final lap, but they better not make that get in the way of Bassoon, I should say, sorry, holding on to P3 for that podium. If they try and make that overtake on Bassoon, then they're going to lose out instead massively. We have a quick look at the time penalty as we confirm it, as we also see Zingy start the final lap of the Grand Prix, who has been absolutely dominant, and this is the car that he wants to be in for the season. Doesn't choose the Mercedes, as we thought it'd go to Mercedes. But starting the final lap of the Grand Prix here tonight, Zingy is leading the way. Bassoon leads the train, but he's going to drop behind as Heischler uses their battery to get in front. Bassoon now going to try and maybe make the move again, but I don't know if he'll be able to. We'll find out very shortly. They're using the energy. They're going to get the toe, but they're not going to be able to get it later on, so they back off and let things be. And yeah, interesting stuff. Using the track limits to their advantage as Heischler. They've got to be careful though. They've got to be careful. There's still half a lap to go in this race. Will Bassoon be able to make that move back on track? Or will it be as it stands? Zingy isn't going to be contested. Heischler currently sits in P2. Would not be contested regardless by Bassoon. Nifajan drops off as their tyres are absolutely finished compared to those soft tyres. That's Bassoon going for the move on the inside line. They'll send it. They are going to send it. There's contact between the two. Heischler wasn't willing to yield. Bassoon's not going to be happy. On the exit, they're trying to send it wherever they can. They've got one opportunity to go. There's going to be a short run up to the line here. So they're going to have to absolutely nail the exit if they want to make that move. They're on the throttle. They're on the DRS. They're on the ERS. I think Heischler's going to hold on. That's not going to be ideal if they're going to move like that on the straight. That will be Nifajan taking the P3 as Bassoon will drop off. And yeah, an interesting race, but Zingy, very well deserved. Redemption from Belgium right there, taking that move. Incredible stuff from him. Very well done. That's the Scotsman again on the top step. F124. It begins for Zingy. Zingy takes the win, Heischler P2, Nifajan in P3, then Bassoon with the fastest lap in P4, and then actually DNFing was Tom Frantic, and Becken did not get classed as finished because it is a shorter race. That's very interesting indeed, so won't score any points. I think that's maybe a little bit of a mistake right there, and that is going to be the race director, of course, for us. We will be back for the post-race interviews. We will see you in a bit. Hello everyone and welcome to the post-race interviews of the Belgian and Qatar Grand Prix for the launch season on the Friday tier. That was a hell of a mouthful. Heisler, 2 races of course and a 1-shot qualifying. It was all a little bit jam-packed, but that was 2 podiums for you. Are you happy with that?
I mean, I got more podiums now than I did last season in LSI, so I think I should be happy with it. I felt like this game suits me quite well. If I look at the pace compared to Singy and Passoon, if it wasn't for like the mistake in Spa and Passoon making a mistake in Qatar, we would probably all 3 have been together a lot of the race. But yeah, that sadly didn't happen. But yeah, P2 in the quali of Spa, and then the P3 and P2. I mean, it to me it says this game just suits me, and I can actually fight them more than I could at the beginning of last year's game. So I had fun. I don't know why they maybe didn't have fun, but I liked it. Soon had one weird moment though at the end of the last lap of Qatar, sending it on these fast right-handers. I don't know why, maybe forcing me into a mistake or making me have another track limit penalty. It wouldn't have mattered since I only had 1 warning for the second penalty. So yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, GG, high spirits. I'm sure it was a good race for others. It just, I think there was a few teething problems from the game here and there, which wasn't great, of course. But yeah, well done. It will be Italy, Monza, and Great Britain. Whether you'll be there or not, are those 2 circuits that you like, and have you tried them in this game yet?
What is the order?
It'll be Monza, then Great Britain.
Okay. I haven't tried Monza yet, but last year I wasn't particularly good at it. I was like way off pace compared to other tracks. So we'll see how it goes then. And I've tried Silverstone as well, and in TT I was like close to Zingy. So I would say it's another chance, maybe on a victory as well. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Well done today, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
And we move on to Tom. I was going to say Tom Brainer. Tom Rob now, as you're on Steam. Brilliant. That was an interesting one. It was quite difficult. Can you take us through your race?
In the first race, Belgium, I struggled a lot. I haven't found the balance between turning and gear grip. So I was just trying to keep the car on track, and after my first spin, the tires were just gone, and it was really hard to manage the traction in especially high-speed corners. So yeah, that was a problem. The crash was really unlucky. Yeah, and in Qatar, I have the pace, like on probably every track besides Spa, so that I can catch up to the guys which were a league higher last season. Yeah, in the end, I wanted to go for the fastest lap, but for some reasons I couldn't talk to my engineer for a pit stop, so I didn't know when to brake, and got into a bit of a lose of traction and just hit the pit wall with my left rear tire. So that was really annoying. But pace-wise, it was a really great race.
Yeah, you were right close to them at the end of that one. So, do you now know where to brake next time for Qatar? Is that a lesson learnt with the different pit lane, of course?
Yeah, I think because usually I have the line on, so when I call the engineer for pit stop, it shows me like where to brake. Don't know why I couldn't do it now. But overall, I think I likely knew what was just lost the car.
Awesome. Yep, fair enough. Well, it's useful for next time. Monza and Great Britain, whether you'll be there or not, are those circuits that you like, and are they circuits that you've got experience on yet?
I kind of like them. I feel pretty confident, at least before the patch. I don't know how this with the patch today. yeah, drove a few laps. Sometimes the practice race already, as I trained a bit for the races that are gonna be in the summer season as well.
Mhm.
So I'm a bit prepared.
Awesome. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next time. Good luck there, and I can't wait. And we move on to Zingy. Zingy, that was crazy. A P2 in Belgium, of course. I'm sure you're not happy with anything other than a win, but you managed to get the redemption. And also, regarding that you turn up to the Qatar Grand Prix, you have maintained your 100% win rate there. Are you happy with that?
Well, I just say overall, I'm not the happiest. Spa was obviously a bit of a rubbish race for me. The pace was off. I knew that anyway because I'm not very good at Spa. But the as I messaged you, the lag spikes and the frame drops were not very nice. So it didn't help. But these things happen, and Qatar was great. Unfortunately, I didn't know why people went for the softs. I didn't see that as to be a viable strategy, especially during a longer race around Qatar. You always want to take that harder compound. So, yeah, the P1 was good, and the nice buffer at the end really boosted my ego for sure.
Yeah, that was very good, very strong at that circuit as always, and it sparks the Zingy domination to continue potentially. We'll see. But the next two races for the launch season, you haven't exactly had great memories there recently. You have won at Monza in the past. You have won a couple times, I think, at Silverstone. Do you think you can kind of redeem last season and maybe go for a double win?
Well, Eric, you know Monza. Monza is one of my worst tracks. It's just a bunch of straights, and that's not to like tarnish the history of it, because obviously it's a great track. But it's just on the game. It's not very it's not very fun to drive because it's just a DRS train for the whole lap, and you can't really show your true pace without having people behind you the whole time. So that'll be difficult. But for Silverstone, I think if I can get a good start and have the right strategy once again, I could probably win that one. But with Monza, I think Pursuit probably has the edge over me there.
Fair enough. Thank you very much. Really well done today. Congratulations on the win. And we'll see you next time. That was incredible.
See you there.
Thank you, mate. I appreciate that. Alrighty, for the final time we go with Nifo. Nifo, that was an interesting one. Just so close to the podium in Belgium, but you got it there in Qatar. Will you take that?
I'll take it. I mean, I was expecting worse. It was not good at all. I think it was still very much off pace, especially in Spa. But I mean, looking at it, this was probably the maximum result I could get. I mean, Spa instantly, like in Le Corbeil, it validates I already start very far back. I had a very good start, and then I just didn't want to like hold up any of the fast guys because I knew like it's probably better just to follow him and get the DRS. And then I just made heaps of mistakes. I just kept in braking. I kept locking the rears. For some reason, I kept turning in too early on the brakes, and I'm still figuring out the braking. I haven't had a lot of hours in the game, so I was just trying to figure it out. I think Gijs in front of me had the same issues as well. We were both locking up everywhere with the rears. But yeah, I mean, that race I really want to forget. I mean, it wasn't great. I made loads of mistakes, but I mean, P4 is good, I guess. I think the strategy wasn't great either, so I mean, that's really the maximum. Qatar, I mean, again, I just stayed behind the fast guys, just followed them. I think I had the better strategy. I should have gotten P2 with that strategy, but just the raw pace wasn't there. I was scared of track limits. I think the front end is still so weird to drive with, and like the turn-in points and whatever. So, I mean, I'll take it. I mean, could have been a lot worse.
Maybe we should ban below a certain steering rate, and everybody has to do like 500 degrees rotation or something. That might be a bit better. Thank you very much. On to the next one, Monza and Great Britain. Great Britain, obviously a great circuit for raceability. If you can try and get under control of those braking issues, maybe a slightly higher brake bias, do you think you'll be able to perform well there?
I mean, Silverstone is a fun track. I like it. Although you have a lot more turning and braking. So if I'm real lucky on Spa and like Lecombe is just straight, I wonder what's going to happen in Silverstone. So I hope I get on top of it. Also, from reliable sources, I see that the cars are not equal once again. So
So
hopefully,
it will be multiplayer cars potentially.
yeah. So hopefully we will see equal cars, and maybe that will change something. I don't know.
Will we get to see a black and yellow F1 car?
You will, obviously.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Nafo, and well done today. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.
And that's been it for the post-race interviews. Thank you very much for watching. It's been a pleasure. We will see you tomorrow for the Saturday tier and next weekend for the Italian and Great British Grand Prix for the launch season finale. Thank you very much, and bye-bye.